Yes, so James, tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name's James Laws. I'm a director. I've been with Bear Films for just over a year now, and I recently got involved in this very exciting project for Meningitis Now.
And what excited you about the project for Meningitis Now?
I think what was really interesting when I was first approached about the project for Meningitis Now was that I didn't realise how fast meningitis can progress. You know, I always knew it was a serious thing that you had to look out for, but as far as I knew, it was, you know, you just wanted a rash, you put a glass on it, and if it shows through, then go and see a doctor. But the reality is, I think that at that stage, it could even, might even be too late. The concept behind this commercial was to look at the fastest hour of one's life, and that's going from, cold-like symptoms right through to a critical condition. And the idea of squeezing, an hour of someone's life into 60 seconds and showing that progression seemed quite exciting to me.
What led you to film the film in the way that you did?
So I guess to begin with, something about the experience, what you go through. It starts with flu-like symptoms and progresses very, very quickly and gets very serious. And I was thinking about what that must be like. It's a journey. You're a passenger of that journey, and you are, it's relentless and it doesn't stop. So I wanted to create shoot this thing in a way that represented that feeling, that kind of journey that you go on. And it got me thinking about fairground rides. I'm not very good on fairground rides, especially ones that spin you upside down or turn you round and round. I feel kind of sick and I want to get off as soon as the thing started, but you can't. You have to sit out. You have to sit it out for the duration and sort of suck it up and take it. And I think that to a certain degree that experience from flu-like symptoms right through to critical condition is a little bit like that. You have no control over what happens. Meningitis just takes over and you're very much a passenger of the experience.
And it's severely bumpy.
It's a very bumpy ride, and it's I imagine quite disorientating. I think I didn't want to give an outsider's perspective of the condition. I wanted to try and place you in the mindset of someone experiencing this. So it was very much about entering the internal world of Sophia and the experiences she had. The technique we decided to explore was the idea of rotating through a space, travelling over the top of Sophia and then reappearing from her feet. And each time we re-entered the scene, the environments changed somewhat. The conditions worsened, and the people around her, progressed from family members to doctors to, surgeons, etc. So there's this steep climb, this sort of crescendo. The rolling camera was there to create a bit of a disorientating sensation. I didn't want to correct we're travelling over the top of her. I didn't want to correct it, so we sort of comfortably end the shot the right way up. I wanted to throw us upside down. I wanted to disorientate the audience and at the same time play with sound. I think sound's really crucial in a film like this because to enter the internal world of our protagonist, you have a lot of option there to play with the sound design and sound effects to create something that's really quite terrifying. You don't have to just be literal with your sounds. You can throw them out of different speakers. You can add abstract sounds to represent what's being said or what's being seen.
Now, how did you feel about telling Sophia's story?
I think Sophia was a really fascinating person. Obviously, the commercial itself is made up audio-wise of her story. We interviewed her, did quite an extensive interview with her. And I was just amazed at her courage, and also the idea that this hasn't really stopped her. She's gone on to achieve amazing things. This really hasn't slowed her down. If anything, it's given her a new lease of life and an opportunity to really do some amazing things.
Particular challenges you faced during filming?
To achieve the technique we wanted, we shot on a motion control system, and this in itself is a huge undertaking because the machine is massive, it's very slow to use, it's very technically challenging, it's very time consuming in that regard. So something that on paper looked like a sort of 5-shot shot list, which should be reasonably straightforward, actually turned into a very long 2-day shoot. As I said, the scale of this machine really gave us some issues with location. We saw hundreds of houses that, on the surface looked great, but they didn't have the ceiling height or the accessibility to get this rig into them. So we had quite a long search for that. plotting each move with the camera takes time. You know, we have to rehearse it at quarter speed, half speed, then full speed, and all these elements, you know, performance and technicality of the machinery all has to sort of work in harmony. Just in regards to performance, the actors had to, you know, hit their marks precisely to avoid being hit by this camera that was flying over their heads, but also remain very much in the moment. And it's a sort of huge testament to Chelsea, our actress, to be able to lose herself in, you know, this kind of disorientating sickness that she's experiencing, and still avoid cameras and, you know, people, etc., as and when she needed to.
What do you say you've learned from this project?
I think that the main thing I've learned is how fast, is how quickly meningitis, you know, turns from something that seems trivial or an everyday cold to actually highly critical condition. You know, in Sophia's story, she's going from, you know, headache and a bit of nausea through to, you know, electric shocks that bring her back to life. You know, all within a very short period of time. And I think that, you know, as with the commercial, hopefully, as the commercial should hopefully educate our audience that, you know, you've got to take these things seriously. It's not a case of wait till tomorrow. You know, during the research for this film, we had a lot of stories of other people who had been through similar situations and maybe weren't as thorough as they should have been with regards to their own health, and, you know, they maybe didn't wake up the next day. I think you've got to act fast. You know, that's the main message here.
Great. And you've made films for other charities. Is there anything that you think was special about this one?
I think what was great with working with Meningitis Now was that, you know, the brief was to make the most memorable, hard-hitting, impactful commercial that we could. They put a huge amount of trust in us. They gave us a lot of creative freedom to really create something that should be hard-hitting and have impact and hopefully save lives.
Great. Thank you very much indeed.